All right, welcome back to another weekly review. Quint, you're back this week. Thanks for joining us again. Did you have a good trip?
Had a wonderful trip, and nice job on your weekly review.
Thank you.
That
I
was
appreciate
really
it. It was
good.
fun. It was
You
really
did a
fun to
good
do.
job.
Well, it's been another busy week. Inflation data, I mean, the market's basically been in the same range for a while now. What's going on?
This is really fascinating, Logan, because we keep getting these conflicting data reports, and you really have to kind of geek out on the numbers a little bit to understand that. You have to go back to the payroll number that we got a week ago. So non-farm payroll number was quite a bit hotter than anticipated. And that immediately caused some ripples. Like, holy cow, we added another 300,000 jobs. This economy is super, super hot. Except when you dig into the data, another bullet point that is reported at that time is wage growth, month-over-month wage growth, which was flat. So you have to ask yourself, how is it that we add so many jobs and yet we're not having to pay people more? So one theory, and it's just a theory, but it's a pretty sound theory, is that we see a tremendous amount of people coming into our country.
Right, exactly.
Legally, illegally, what have you. Well, those jobs, could be on the rise and being taken by a lot of those people.
Numbers a lot too. Yeah.
Exactly. And what's interesting is when you report a payroll, you report a person, whether, and again, just sharing with you how the data is done, whether that person has a Social Security that they got somewhere else or, is their cousin's Social Security. I mean, my point is if you report your payroll numbers, it's not your job to check their immigration background. I mean, you have a job to a degree, but you get my point. However, jobless claims, on the other hand, if you lose a job and you file unemployment, you have to have a legitimate Social Security number, bank account, etc. So there's some speculation, this is why I'm going into this rabbit hole, that non-farm payrolls were up considerably, but wage growth was flat. But then jobless claims were also up.
Yeah.
It's a head-scratcher. So it tells us maybe we are seeing weaker economic data or weaker jobs data, but those jobs are being absorbed by other people. Okay, that's number one. This week, we saw CPI, Headline Consumer Price Index. It's the one that's above the fold, as they call it in the newspaper industry. It's going to get the most press, and it was hotter than anticipated. So, oh boy, here we go. Wednesday comes out, inflation, market takes a dive. Oh my goodness, this is terrible. Thursday morning, we get Producer Price Index. Now, this is the front line. If you think about, we're producing things, then we're selling them to the consumer. Well, Producer Price Index was lower than anticipated. So you go, wait,
it's all over the place.
How is this possible? Well, when you look into the CPI, the area that caused the most challenge and the most increase was energy, was oil. And you don't have to go far. You just go to the pump to see that oil over the last month is up considerably. So it's not an economic thing that is creating these headlines. It's one-offs.
Yeah.
So today, we're cutting this Thursday afternoon because you're going to be out tomorrow. Your
My wife's getting her white coat. She's doing her white coat ceremony.
White coat ceremony for her PA. That's fantastic, by the way. Bravo. So we're cutting this today. But today, we had on Thursday, the market rebounded considerably on that PPI. And it did it in the areas you would expect. Growth names, technology names, etc. So what do we glean from all this? Like, why did, okay, Quint, who cares, right? That's good to know. We're in a bull market.
Yep.
We continue to be in a bull market. And we're going to get pullbacks. And in fact, I don't necessarily think, and I don't certainly have a crystal ball, but I'm not sure this recent pullback's over. But we've gone sideways now for many weeks. We haven't made a lot of progress after that first month of the year, after January. We haven't gone a lot of places. That was first started in the hot, and then we've kind of stalled. So we're digesting the returns, which is normal. What I want to share with our audience is be careful not to get too sidetracked with headlines or market volatility, short-term volatility. Stick to the plan. Stick to the game, and if you're not a client and you're out there and you're part of the $6 trillion that's sitting on the sidelines and you're going, I don't know how to get back in. I don't know when to get back in. When you get these pullbacks that will only come on scary headlines, you are not going to get all is right with the world, Dow down 500.
Yeah.
That will not happen.
They coincide. Yeah.
So you're going to get scary headlines, scary events, and you'll get a pullback. That's the opportunity to start dollar cost averaging in. So we continue to like the market. We continue to like the areas we're in. These headlines, you got to dissect them a little bit because they're not at face value.
And earnings are right around the corner. We're about to get a lot of more news.
Earnings are coming around the corner, and a lot of areas I expect banks to start talking. They're out first. I definitely think J.P. Morgan, Jamie Dimon, always has a tendency. He'll make $40 billion in a quarter and tell you how terrible the world is. He is the antithesis of a cheerleader. He will not cheerlead. So, but I dare say the banks will start talking about trying times ahead. I don't know how they can't. They're not doing any loans. Mortgages are at, standstill. So they're going to talk about a challenging picture. Who we want to hear from is the technology companies that are making money, the industrial companies, the blue chip companies. That's who we really want to hear from. That comes later in the cycle, but mind you, we will see volatility this earnings season. There's no question about it.
All right, watch out for those headlines. We'll keep updating you with these weekly reviews. Make it a great week.